Hi, the City of Atlanta's Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs thrilled to introduce its new series, In the Tradition. Now, this series is going to introduce everybody in Atlanta and jazz aficionados throughout the country and around the world to the 2021 Atlanta Jazz Festival artists. Now, this begins in April, Jazz Appreciation Month, and it's running on Tuesday evenings until this year's Jazz Festival. Now, we're going to learn a little bit about the artists that are performing, and I am so happy to have with me this afternoon one of the artists performing. He's Grammy. He's got a Grammy. Isaiah Sharkey. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing great, and it's wonderful to have you here, and so looking forward to hearing you play in September. But we're going to jump right in and find out who is Isaiah Sharkey.
Well, I started out. I grew up in Chicago. I'm a Chicago native. I grew up in a part of Chicago called Cabrini Green, and I have a musical family. I'm the youngest of six, and I studied music under the tutelage of my father, Mr. Michael Sharkey, and his brothers as well, Eugene Sharkey and Greg Sharkey, and that's kind of how I got my start. Actually, just came from a very very musical family.
I understand that you started at the age of 4 and
Yes,
literally asked your dad for a guitar at the age of 4.
yes, I did.
That is amazing. How did you know that you wanted to play guitar?
Well, we had a VHS of my dad and his brothers and sisters group. They had a group called the Fabulous Fugitives that was based out here in Chicago.
Okay.
And they started out in the 60s and recorded some albums in the 70s and still continued to play music in the 80s. And so they played at this club at the time was called Dean Bats, where I guess they said Mr. T was like a bouncer or something like that. Some cool history, but they recorded this particular performance at that club in like 1983, which was a few years before I was born. And as a kid watching that, I would see my uncles and my dad play. And one of my uncles had this beautiful guitar, and I just gravitated towards the guitar and the sound of it. And I was like, man, that's what I want to do. I knew right then when I saw that video, that's what I wanted to do. There's no doubt.
At the age of 4, that is amazing. And I mean, you do all different types of styles. Your R&B, jazz, gospel, rock, blues. You do it all. So, out of all of those, what do you think is your favorite?
Well, that's pretty hard to say because I appreciate all of those different genres
Okay.
because of the different language and how you can express yourself in different ways. But if I had to choose, if I just had to choose, I would say I love jazz music because it involves a lot of improvisation and it allows you to expand your horizons with creativity. But I try to apply that concept in all of the different genres that I find myself having to play in.
Well, by the way, that was the right answer. I just wanted you to know that. But Isaiah, it's really great to be able to talk to artists, and I always like to find out about the process of playing, actually getting into it, coming up with a song. What is your process for coming up with a song and writing it, and so something that we want to hear and something that you want to play?
Well, there's several different types of process that I would use. Sometimes I'm just driving in my car and I'll hear a melody and or I hear a bass line or I hear some type of rhythm and thank God for good old iPhones. So I get the voice memo and record myself humming it. Sometimes it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I know in my head what I'm thinking about, what I'm hearing, and the picture that I want to paint. And so it kind of starts with that, and then depending on the availability of the studio session, a studio session, or the instrument that I'm around, I might pick up an instrument. Might it be drums or bass or keyboards, guitar, and I'll start to kind of form some type of foundation for the song, and then eventually, if I don't play everything myself, I usually get other musicians that will help, that I feel would be really, I guess, appropriate for the particular composition, and start to arrange and produce the music, and then do maybe a scratch vocal, and then write lyrics to my scratch vocal. Sometimes the scratch vocal may be just some gibberish, but a melody, and go back home and kind of just take my time and form some lyrics and come back and do that. And just, constantly just making sure, polishing the song until it comes as close as I possibly can to the vision that I have in my mind and in my heart. And then that's when I share it with the world. But it's a lot of different ways that I go about kind of, developing songs.
Well, that's pretty cool. So driving the car and doing it all is the way that you get to that song and to that piece. So that's
Absolutely.
really cool. But I think that music, especially right now in the time that we're in, how do you think that music is playing a role in where we are? We've been in a pandemic for a year. We're still in it. How has that kind of affected music, and how has music kind of evolved for you in this time period?
Well, tremendously. It's really affected a lot of musicians as well as myself, in the sense of, I'm a person that's always on the road for the most part, for years, and constantly doing shows and constantly doing studio sessions. And so, like, for your year to be canceled in like a day, you know,
Yeah,
oh man, what I'm going to do for the rest of the year,
right.
as far as music is concerned, I'm like, wow, so it was very challenging. I think that the music industry has definitely taken a blow, because this is how a lot of people, feed their families. This is everybody's
Right.
passion. And, that's something that's a big part of your life, if that's your job and that's your love and your passion, your hobby, your everything, that can be a bit of a challenge to go without it for a whole year or a year and some months. And so I think what it did for me outside of music, actually, it just made me also look at different aspects of my life, and appreciate time at home, and spending a lot more time with my family, and all those different things. And then musically, it challenged us to be able to look at our craft and our gifts and our talents in a way that can make us even that much more creative. How can we still make people smile? How can we still uh, express ourselves and create music even through a trying time as this? And so it's really expanded my uh, I guess my practicing routine. You know, it expanded my study in music as well. I had a lot more time to listen to a lot more music, and traveling so much, and really learning music for different artists and stuff like that. You tend to only really practice a lot more on the stuff that you have to, the task at hand, basically the music you have
Wow.
to learn. So getting back into like the true pure love of practicing and studying my instrument and studying music and all that, it's really helped me expand. And I think that helped me creatively, and it helped me in life too. So I always say, if your life is your music is a reflection in some ways of your life and what you're going through and how you're feeling and all those things like that.
Yeah, well, I know that music has helped us, and so many artists put out so much music during the pandemic, and I thought it was fantastic because we all were able to reap the benefits of all of that creativity put together, which I thought was just really, really cool. So, thank you for that. But switching gears a little bit, I know that you've worked with a lot of artists. You got a Grammy for your work with D'Angelo.
Yes.
What did that feel like? Let's talk about that for a second.
Well, that was that whole experience working with D'Angelo was fantastic. I mean, I started working with him when I was maybe about 19, and we started recording on the Black Messiah album then. And we continued to work for several years after until the album was released in 2014. And by the time we had released the album and did some touring, and then all of a sudden, being nominated for 3 Grammys and myself
Wow.
winning one of the three, uh, it was an incredible experience. I think it was. I was very, very honored and blessed and fortunate to be able to be a part of that, and thankful that D'Angelo would be selfless enough to allow all of the creatives that were involved in the Vanguard to be a part of the whole experience, not just the musical experience of the album. And that's what led us to be all Grammy winners. And I felt that it wasn't just I guess an accomplishment for myself, but it was an accomplishment for uh, I think it was a part of the legacy of my family because, again, I'm not the first musician in my family. So my father and his brothers and his sisters were all working very, very hard, a whole bunch of years to achieve certain goals. And I think that was one of the goals that they wanted to achieve. So I feel that it's bigger than that. It was the legacy of my family, and it was a dream come true.
Wow, that's really cool. And you've worked with gospel artists like Smokey Norfolk, you've worked with John Mayer, you've worked with, I mean, I could just go on and on. So why don't you tell us all the folks that you've worked with? Because I mean, it was a laundry list of folks that we found out about. I said, wow, Isaiah has worked with absolutely everybody.
Well, I've been very fortunate to work with some incredible artists in my career. I really started out, as I said before, playing in the church and jazz clubs, and so um, I was doing a lot of gospel stuff with Donald Lawrence, as you said, Smokey Norfolk, the Clark sisters, Rance Allen, uh, pretty much a lot of the gospel artists that are out there today. I've done some form of work, whether it's been a show or studio session or live performance, whatever. I've also worked with, of course, D'Angelo, Patti LaBelle, Paul Simon, John Fogerty, Jeff Lorber, um, quite a few people, Brian McKnight, and even
Wow.
doing hip hop stuff, Anderson Paak, and Common, and a lot of different people.
So you just worked with everybody. So might as well just put that out there. But that's absolutely awesome to be able to do that and to do what you love and to be able to work with people that put out, I mean, fantastic music. You know, you mentioned Jeff Lorber. I mean, his fusion projects and all of that, putting, just being a part of that, I can only imagine what that really feels like. It's probably
Uh,
just incredible.
it's very, very, very. I don't want to use the word weird, but it's like, oh man, this is something else because I grew up in a very musical family again, and my dad listened to all types of music, spanning from classical music to like jazz, rock, blues, funk, R&B, soul, house music, you name it, we were listening to it, and to be able to grow up and play with the Isley Brothers and stuff that I listened to as a
Yeah,
kid and say, wow, I'm actually on stage with these people. Like, it never gets old. I'm always in
right.
a state of gratitude and appreciation for playing with all these incredible legends and phenomenal artists.
So when you want to just kind of relax, who are you listening to?
Wow. I guess it depends on my mood.
Okay.
Sometimes I find myself really listening to Art Tatum. I love Art Tatum. I love
Okay.
solo piano. Sometimes I listen to Keith Jarrett, or I'll listen to some Coltrane sometimes, or sometimes Marvin Gaye or Steely Dan. Um, it just really depends. But it just really depends on the day. It's so much music out there that satisfy and soothe me in my spirit and my soul. So it just really depends.
So it can be a little bit of everything.
Be a little
Well,
bit.
I always ask everybody this one question:
Mhm.
CD or vinyl?
I would say vinyl. I grew up in the
Okay.
CD era, the cassette and CD era, but I like vinyl. I love vinyl. I grew up listening to vinyl. My dad had an amazing collection because my grandfather owned a record store back in the 80s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And yeah, and so for whatever reason, they didn't keep it after my grandfather passed on. And so my dad uh, was able to have all of those records, crates and crates and crates and crates. And I would go through them and just listen to everything that I could. Look at the album covers. I just think that the with vinyl, to be able to see the physical copies, um,
Right.
see who played on it, see what year it was. Look at the liner notes and the artwork and all that stuff like that. I think that was just like a whole experience.
That's one of the things that I like about vinyl. That was the right answer too, by the way. I love vinyl because just putting that needle on that record and just watching it spin, it's a creation in itself. So that's how I've always felt about vinyl, and it's just something about listening to a vinyl record, even when you hear that,
Oh,
it's just something about that. Just
oh
something
yeah,
about that.
oh yeah, absolutely.
It's nothing like it. But your process, you told me about your process, a little bit about that. But when you actually pick up the guitar to play, what is going through your mind at that moment? I mean, you could be in, Stockholm, or maybe you're in Chicago, or you're in one of those other places. When you actually, get that, do you read the room first to say, okay, what am I going to do for these people? How do you get into that mind frame that you're kind of in a zone? Are you in a zone? Or are you present?
Um, I am both
Okay.
all at the same time. I never plan what's going to happen as far as, I mean, there, of course there's arrangements, and the band's well rehearsed, and we have some ideas that of what it is that we want to do, and have that whole show planned out and everything. But when you, as in the Gospels, they say, when you let the Spirit move you and lead you,
Right.
uh, anything can happen.
Okay.
There's never going to be two audiences or venues alike, and so that's the beautiful part about it. You have to uh, be prepared, but also be able to be to allow the moment to shine, and that energy to lead you as well. And I think that it's a like I said, it's a beautiful thing to be able to have something happen differently every night. So when I get on the stage, I'm ready and prepared to do the job that it is that I need to do, and to be able to feel the room so I can know what it is I need to say to the audience, and what it is this audience might need based off of what they're giving me. And that's I think that's the best way to, in my opinion, that's the best way to go about performing and playing your instrument, is to always be prepared, but also allow the moment to uh,
Right.
dictate to what it is in the room and in the people. You know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Now, if you were to name one person that you have not worked with, which you've worked with so many people,
Mhm.
just tell me a couple of people that you would love to work with on your projects or on their projects.
Okay. Well, I would love to work with. I would love to work with hmm, Donald Fagen from Steely Dan.
Okay.
I actually got a call from Donald Fagen a few years
How
ago
about
to
that?
do some work with him, and things ended up having to be postponed, and I was like really disappointed. But if it comes around once, I believe it can come around again. And so
Oh, for sure.
that's one person I love their Steely Dan's music, so I would definitely want to work with them. I would love to work with Herbie Hancock one day.
Yeah, good
Love
one.
Herbie Hancock. I think he's a absolute genius. Would love to work with Stevie Wonder. Uh,
Okay.
I would love to work with the group Toto. I think they're fantastic. Um, there's a lot of people I want to work with for sure. Yeah,
You said there's a whole lot of people.
whole lot of people I haven't worked with yet that I
Well, you know what? What we just did is we just put it in the atmosphere, which is what
hey,
I
there you
always say
go.
that we just
Thank
did. We just put it in the
speak it into
atmosphere.
existence,
So
right?
it's going to happen. So it's
Yeah.
going to definitely happen. Well, Isaiah, what would you say? You've been doing this music thing for a while,
Hmm.
and you've obviously mastered, the way to get in the door, and that's through playing or through relationships. But someone who is actually watching this video that actually wants to participate, who would you say, as far as, what would you say to that particular artist? What would you say to them?
Well, it's you never master it. I don't know if a person can ever truly master their instrument. I don't know. There's so much that can be learned and that is possible. Um, I think that what you can master is being yourself. There, heard an old man, a couple old guys, and say over the years that hey, there's nothing new under the sun, and I can believe that, and I believe that in a sense of like there's 12 notes in music. It's so you got that to work with. But your interpretation, there's no two minds that are exactly the same. So when we're talking about music, you have a great advantage in being an individual, and that's going to require studying music and the things that's before you. That's going to require doing homework. That's going to require a lot of devotion and dedication to your craft and your music, and being willing and open to expose yourself to so many different genres and so many different interpretations and so many different views on music. So accumulate as much knowledge as you can so that or information so that you can create knowledge for yourself and then create have wisdom in it, and then you'll be able to make wise decisions and wise choices in music. But then also for a musician that's listening or an artist that's listening, to really get out there and be consistent, it's going to require that. Excuse me. That require that musically. It's also going to require integrity as an individual, as a person, outside of just playing music. Being professional, being able to show up on time. Being able to um, get on flights and not miss flights. Being able to just have integrity and be a person that people would love to be around, not just work with. Because a lot of people can go on jobs and you know they'll work the job with the person, but they might not like it, and it might
Right.
hinder some of the progress that can happen to get things done and accomplished. And so everybody wants something that's easy. They don't have to worry about all that stuff. So it takes understanding that. It also takes understanding the business a little bit, understanding the different aspects. It's an entertainment business, so there's a whole bunch of different uh, aspects and parts of it that we must make ourselves aware of. So there's just some things that will get you there and then keep you there.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, we're getting ready to wrap up here. I could tell we could talk all day long for sure, because you have so much knowledge, and we're so looking forward to seeing you at the 2021 Atlanta Jazz Festival. So, last question: what can folks expect from you, Isaiah Sharkey, at the Atlanta Jazz Festival?
Oh well, you can expect to get everything that's in me. Uh, you can get all different types of music. You're gonna get experience that is real and truthful. And I'm gonna dance with you. I'm gonna have a good time with you. And I just want to make people happy and make people feel good because I want to feel good. And so I just want to be able to share the experience that I'm having at that moment with everybody else, and we can all have as old people say, a grand, good old time.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're looking forward to that. Well, thanks again. I'm looking forward to this year's Jazz Festival. Is going to be absolutely awesome. You being part of it. Thank you for coming and sitting down and talking with me about this new series in the tradition. It's always good to find out about artists and what makes you guys tick. Because you guys have a different set of brain cells, and I think that's really cool. So I'm looking forward to it. Have a great one, and we'll see you soon, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. You have a great day as well. Thank you so much for having me.